Hey scribes, it's your girl Tia Smart Young. Welcome to the Facebook Live. It is Tuesday. I am 3 for 3 on my promise to appear. 3 for 3 out of the 8 times I promised that I was going to appear for the next 8 weeks. Hey Jean, in the Facebook Live, and just have conversations with you guys, offer tips that I have promised you, and you have questions, I have answers. And I know you heard it because I heard it. My phone just went off. So, constantly forgetting to shut the phone off and put it on vibrate, but that's done now. So as we always do at this time, let me just do a few housekeeping things. I'm going to do housekeeping things and some updates. So for the newbies in the group, my name is Tia Smart Young. I go by the name T. For all my friends, family. And a quick update, I am doing a Rock Your College Essay Workshop. I am really excited about this because in the year of accountability for Tia Smart Young, I am saying something and I am doing it. So I said I wanted to help high school students get their college essays together, because I have read college essays in the past. I have graded college essays. I have reviewed them. I have consulted with students. I have done workshops for Black Girls Rock. I did workshops for an organization called Seeds of Fortune, which I'm going to do a college workshop for them in a few weeks. So here's the deal. A lot of them are pretty damn boring, okay? And me being on the end of reading all of these essays, I do not want to be bored. So guess what? Admissions counselors don't want to be bored. So let's do each other a favor. Let me help you not have your high school, your college application essay be boring. So what we're gonna do is, and I wrote a note to myself because like mad things going on. So first of all, I have some early bird tickets. The early bird tickets are $65 and they expire on July 15th. And so if you're in Brooklyn or you can get to Brooklyn, guess what? This workshop is for you, boo. Well, maybe not for you, but maybe for a teen in your life. So we're going to be going over the Common App questions, and your students or person in your life who is in high school may be familiar, but we're just going to review because everybody needs a review. I'm going to work on finding their voice because I am super big on voice. And there's nothing more boring and dry to me than an essay that doesn't have voice. So we just going to work on that. We're going to work on story structure because a lot of times what I see is that the story is all over the place. Like chronologically, where are you going? You can't tell me about when you were a baby and then jump all the way to when you were 15. We're going to get some story structure. We're going to get some order to that. And we're going to start with an attention-grabbing first sentence. I want to be wowed the minute that I pick up your essay, and I want the admissions counselor to be wowed and impressed the minute that he or she picks up your college essay. So again, the workshop is called Rock Your College Essay. It's going to be in Brooklyn. It's $65 for the early bird tickets. And then after the 15th, it jumps to $130. And there are only a few early bird tickets, so you need to get on that now. I'm going to put the link actually in the comments while I'm talking about it. I have a little bit.ly link so you can share this with people in your life so that they can, one second, Jean. It's the story of Christ from birth to death. We must read the story of Christ from birth to death, and for your college essay anyway. I mean, for religious reasons. That you might want to do that. But you only have 650 words to write this college essay and kill. So you have a short amount of time to start with the great sentence, pick a common application question that matches your story. I really do feel like that's key, because if your story doesn't match the question, it's like, why are we here? Why bother? So that's why you need my workshop. So, and it's a 2-day workshop. So it is July. So let me back up because I don't think I said that. It is July 28th and 29th in Brooklyn from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And for your student really has to be there for both days, because what I'm going to do on the second day is give that one-on-one coaching, that one-on-one feedback that I love to give students. And I love to give any kind of writing, any kind of person who's working on their writing. So here's the link. I'm going to put it bit.ly Rock Your College Essay. And this link will take you directly to the Eventbrite link. So you can pay directly on Eventbrite. So share that with your friends. If you are on my email list, you have already received an email about it. If you are in my personal network, guess what? You're going to receive an email about that today. Because I really do feel like this is an important service that I am offering to students. And if you live in my building and you are a high school student, guess what? It's free for you, because that is part of one of the tenants' dues. So that said, let's move on to the real reason you are here today. And that is, I'm calling this the little lunchtime combo because it's about 1:30. Did you eat lunch yet? I hope you did. If not, this is the little lunch for you. This is a little salad. I got a little tomatoes, got a little, what else we got? We got a little sprouts. We got some kale. We got some spring mix. And you know I got my notes because the brain. So here's the deal. 5 ways to get your inner writing critic to shut the F up. Now, here's the thing. We are, and it's a family show, and I haven't really decided how I feel about using profanity with you guys, especially since I just realized that my father is on my mailing list. He responded to the Rock Your Essay email and said he wanted 2 tickets. And I was like, wait a minute. My dad is on my email list? Kind of cool, but also kind of scared me for a second as well. You know, your mom always follows and reads everything that you do, but when your dad does it, you're like, wait a minute. Dad is watching? So still trying to process those feelings. But 5 ways to get your inner critic to shut the F up. Okay, here's the deal. A lot of us are carrying the baggage of something that someone told us so long ago. And so that's really what's preventing us from doing the thing that we need to do, right? So maybe somebody told you that your grammar was horrible and you haven't really worked to improve it. Or maybe someone told you that your writing was boring and you have not worked to improve that. So that loop is playing in your head every time you sit down to try to write something. So here's a way, or here are 5 ways that I think you can get past that loop that is playing in your head. The first thing we have to do is I want you to just take yourself off the hook by understanding the difference between talent and skill. And if you guys follow Will Smith, you know that Will Smith talks about this all the time. And he just reiterated it on, I was listening to Rap Radar's podcast. So Elliot Wilson and B. Dot, 2 guys I used to work with, because I used to work at XXL. I told you I'm a hip hop girl. They interviewed Will Smith in Budapest. And so this is huge, right? So they're interviewing Will Smith in Budapest, and he's talking about his rap career. And he says, his rap career and his acting career. And he says, I never considered myself particularly talented. And I thought, wow, Will Smith doesn't think he's talented. But what he did say is that he's skilled. So then he broke down the difference between talent and skill. So talent is something that you have naturally. And I agree with him, because we can all be born with certain things. You know how it's like your dad was an artist, and so you kind of pick that up, and you're an artist as well. But here's the thing, the skill part. So if you don't work on your writing, if you don't work on your painting, if you don't work on whatever it is, your math, your English, if you don't work on these things, it doesn't matter. Your talent is going to fail you, because you have not worked on the skill part. You have not said, okay, I'm going to respect whatever it is that I love to do, whether it's for a hobby or you want to be professionally paid for it. You haven't said, I want to work on my skill and improve this thing. You have to work on your artistry. And I want to make sure I don't miss my notes, because you want to be able to communicate with people and you want to have them receive your work. And I think that's one of the things that I always see from new writers, is that they are worried about how someone is going to perceive their work. But if you are working on your talent, if you are putting those hours in, then guess what? You're going to get better. So here's the thing that I like to say, that it applies to if you're writing a book, it applies if you're want to write an op-ed for the New York Times, if you just want to make sure that your journal entries are better, because when you die and they publish it like an Anne Frank type situation, you want to make sure that, damn, she was prolific, right? You don't want your shit to be looking kind of crazy. And there I did. I let the little profanity slip. Sorry about that. So here's the thing. my thing is, when you think about talent and skill, it's like you can't decide that you want to write this op-ed for the New York Times and you're like, it's just a thought in your head, right? But you're not, but today is Tuesday and you work it on Tuesday. And then 5 months later, you decide to come back to that op-ed and work on it. No, there's a huge time gap. And so there wasn't anything that you've done to improve this essay. So no, you're not going to be, you're not going to have a better piece of writing if you haven't been consistently working on it. So you can't leave these huge gaps of time. I'm all for coming back to it. Sometimes we do need to let our writing breathe for like a day or two, but you can't expect to start your essay on Tuesday, July 10th, and then, December 10th, it's way better. You're going to sit down and you're going to be able to pick up and write something way better. It's not going to happen like that. But if today is Tuesday, July 10th, and you're writing every day, by the time you get to December 10th, you're going to see a difference in your work, because what? You have now put in your hours, you put in your time, you put in your skill. Now listen, you're not going to be Ava DuVernay and Ryan Coogler, with the dope screenplay by December 10th. That's not going to happen when you're new. But you're not going to be the person that you were before. So hopefully that loop that was playing in your head about, my grammar is bad, or I'm a boring writer, you can get those things taken care of, because you've said, here's the thing. I've recognized the talent and the skill, and I'm working on it. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, stop trying to write like X or even be like X. And X could be whoever your favorite author is, your favorite screenwriter, your favorite playwright, your favorite actor. Stop trying to be like that person. And the reason why I say this, because I've been guilty of this in the past too. Like, I have a lot of writing crushes and celebrity crushes and directing crushes and author crushes. And I love what they do. But the minute that I think that I can write like Ava DuVernay, I'm in trouble. Or the minute that I love, for instance, I love John Green. Now, John Green is this young adult author. He's a white, I believe John Green is gay, but don't quote me. He's a white male. And so his experience in the room, in the world, is way different from my experience in the world. So I am never, ever going to write like John Green, right? One, because his skill level is like out there. And I think that even my interests are different from his. So for me, like, how they always say that comparison is the thief of joy? It really is. If I was to sit there and to compare myself to John Green, I'm in trouble. I'm not going to be able to write to the level that Tiaya is writing to. And then you guys, you're going to be like, wow, she's trying to imitate John Green. Now that's fine for people who are starting out. I want to say we all start out. Thank you. Jean says, don't play yourself. You're pretty skilled. I appreciate these accolades. Thank you very much. It is okay when you start out as a newbie to imitate someone, I think, for a little bit, because you're trying to find your footing and trying to find your voice in the world. However, once you realize that this is not going to work, you have to find your own voice and your own writing style. And the way that you do that is by constantly practicing and working on it. So here's the thing too, that I also see a lot of people doing and thinking like, oh, I want to know everything about that person's story. I want to know how Ava DuVernay came into existence. I want to know how Ryan Coogler came into existence. I want to know. And that's fine, but that still isn't going to make you them. Like, so you now know that Ryan Coogler likes to have green tea for breakfast, and he likes to write in complete silence, and he likes to play Kendrick Lamar when he's writing. Just because you imitate those things is not going to make your writing better. You may not be able to listen to music at all while you're writing. So that's why I say don't get caught up on imitating what your writing crush is doing, because you have to develop your own habits in terms of this is what's going to work for me. Now, T doesn't need absolute silence, but like when my son is blasting some little yachty or some craziness in the back that I just can't rock with, yeah, I'm gonna need you to turn that down. Okay, I'm gonna need you to turn it down because now I can't focus and now my concentration is blown. So there are certain things that I have in place to help me when I am to be a better writer. Jean says, yes, copying a recipe doesn't make you a better chef. Like you can get a recipe offline and I'll do those things. And then sometimes it's like, wow, the seasoning seems a little bit off. You know, maybe I don't have enough seasoning here. And it's because I'm copying this recipe. But you know how we do, we gonna put our own little spices on it. We go, wow, we West Indian, we gonna put that curry on it. We're gonna get it to where we want to have the flavor that we need. And the same thing for your writing. You're going to bring your own flavor to your writing. So tip number 2 is stop trying to write like X and stop trying to be like X and copy all of their writing rituals, because that's not gonna help you. You have to create your own writing rituals. And plus, you can't be going around here looking like, you know, part 2 of somebody, because they're going to spot a fake. Everyone wants to see an original. Number 3. You have to undo the message that you've been told about your writing by taking action, right? So let's see. If we go back to tip number 1, and I said, you know, starting today, July 10th and December 10th, you look at your progress. So let's not even go that far because that's 5 months from now. Let's think about in 7 days, the action that you can take on your own writing. So if your inner critic is telling you, because you know everyone has their inner critic that sits on their shoulder and tells them what they can't do before they sit down to do X, Y, and Z. Hey, son, she said, this is scary. I literally just wrote a chapter called Imitation today and then happened to log in and see this. Yes. We do, as writers, I think in the very beginning, anyone, because I know your book is about business, we do try to imitate whatever we see. We try to imitate someone's Instagram. Oh, they got all these followers. Let me try to imitate what they do on their timelines. Oh, they do Motivational Mondays. Let me do Motivational Monday. And it's not going to work for you. People are going to read through something that's inauthentic. And I do. And I stop following people when I'm like, you don't really mean that because you're giving me the booty pose with the inspiration. Like, stop. Give me the booty pose. I don't need your inspiration. Give me a great butt shot and I will scroll and like it and be on my way. Okay? But I digress. So back to our 7 days. So what you can accomplish in 7 days. So let's say you say if the thing that your inner critic is telling you is that you cannot write 300 words a day about why you left your 6-figure job and you decided you wanted to work for JetBlue and be a flight attendant, right? You had enough of corporate America and these JetBlue benefits are popping and your goal is to really see the world. You gave corporate America all that you could give them. And your thing is, I want to go to Budapest. I want to go to Thailand. And guess what? These benefits right here, me having the free flyer, me having the free flying situation, that's going to make my life better. You want to write about that? You want to share it with the world in your 50,000 word ebook you're going to put on Amazon? Great. But if you haven't written one word about this story, how are you moving forward? How are you taking action? So tip number 3 is to undo the message by taking action. So if today is July 10th and you wrote 300 words for the next 7 days, what are you going to have? You're going to have 2,100 words, right? So you're going to have 2,000 plus words in 7 days. So that's more than what you had on July 9th, because on July 9th, you had nothing. But at the end of this 7 days, you have something. So you undid the message by taking action. Okay. Tip number 4. And this is really the big cousin to tip number 3. Identify the problem and then fix it. Okay. So we're undoing messages, but sometimes you got to get real specific with yourself. So there are people who I know who are super passionate writers and they have these great stories, but they don't, is what the same template, Jean? Tell me specifically what you're asking about. They are super passionate writers, but they do not vary their word usage. It's like, can we get with the dictionary and use the right term? Can we get with the thesaurus and use some synonyms and some antonyms up in your writing? Because you're boring me with your very basic language. Sometimes you want to get fancy, and sometimes you need a $5 word. Sometimes, look who forgot to turn their phone off again. I hate when I do that. Okay, so we are going to use a thesaurus. We're going to use a dictionary if we know that we need to vary our word choices. So here's the problem and here's the solution. Fix the problem. What if your issue is grammar? Again, fix the problem. These things are absolutely fixable. I can't teach a person passion, but I can teach you how to fix your grammar, and I can teach you how to vary your word choices, and I can teach you how to vary your sentence lengths, but I cannot teach you passion. So here's what are we going back to? Number 4, identify the problem and fix it. And you know what? When I'm talking about like someone having a problem with grammar or word sentence length or uses, that's not shade. This is like a criticism with love, because if you're going to call yourself a writer, there's some basic things that you have to do. You're going to want to impress your reader with what you know and your knowledge and your skill, and you cannot do that if you have not identified the problem and fixed it, because no one's going to want to read a piece, a book, an essay, anything, an email. Damn it, an email. I don't want to read your email if it's riddled with grammatical errors, and that's not shade. This is a fact. This is something that you could identify and fix. Son says, I keep a thesaurus open when I write. I do. Like, my thesaurus and my dictionary are my best friends. And hello, Grammarly.com, okay? Grammarly.com, the free version of Grammarly.com really can help people get their writing better. I use Grammarly.com, and I use the paid version of it because I want to see how I'm doing. I want to make sure sometimes if I don't have a copy editor or an editor over my shoulder or someone that I'm submitting my work to, I use Grammarly.com as like okay, I want to make sure I have everything correct. And Grammarly.com does catch a lot of things sometimes. Son said, I literally stopped reading a book riddled with typos. Like, yeah, you got me for about 3 pages before I'm like, no. And even 3 pages, I think sometimes is generous on my behalf, but that's because I got such a good heart. Okay. So, little confession, and the reason why I'm really about identifying the problem and fixing it is because when I was in high school, I was a horrible math student. Right. So I was like failing quizzes, failing tests, and I was trying to hide it from my mother. And so she saw the report card grade and she was like, what's the deal? And I was too embarrassed to tell her. And so when she realized that I wasn't doing as well in my math class as I should have been, she identified that problem and she fixed it by getting me a tutor. And so it's like, whoa, mind blown. Now I am figuring out why these equations do not make any sense to me. Why Son says she uses Grammarly. Why equations didn't make sense to me, why formulas wouldn't stick in my head. And so by having a tutor, by fixing that problem, it helped me to see that there's no shame in asking for help. There's no shame in working on something to better yourself. And in college, guess what? I was the one who had to fix the problem again, because when I got to college, I think I had a math tutor in college for like the 3 of the 4 years, or maybe the 4 of the 4 years that I was there. And there's no shame in it because I graduated with a nice GPA. So, you know, your girl is about fixing problems, identifying problems and fixing them. And so last but not least, tip number 5. Okay. Hire a writing coach. And I know what you're thinking. OT, this is your chance to promote yourself. Okay, true and false. True and false. I am going to promote myself, but not just promoting myself. This is something that I really and truly believe in. The same way some people have told me, oh, I don't understand what a writing coach is. Hello, you understand what a trainer is, right? Same concept. You think Serena got to be a champion without having a trainer in her corner? I don't think so. Do you think Beyonce got to be a great vocalist without having a trainer and that was helping her to work on and hit those notes? I don't think so. It just doesn't work that way. So the whole point of having a trainer or having a coach is to improve what you are working on and to make you better. And that's not to say that it's just for newbies. There are, I work with people who are established writers who hire me to be their coach, and we're working on some different level things. We're not working maybe a newbie writer. I'd be working with them on their grammar, but for someone who is a more established writer, they're hiring me for accountability. They're hiring me to make sure that they're not missing anything, that they're talking to the audience the way they should. So there's different ways to look at this coaching piece, and it's not just about me promoting myself, although you can't go wrong when you're in my hands. I'm just going to say that. And then I did put it in. So if you look in the description box, I'll type it in the comments as well. But if you look in the description box, I did put a link for you guys to book a free 15-minute coaching call with me. And that's really how I start with people. I start with 15 minutes. Let's get clear on something really specific that you're working on, and let's make the most of these 15 minutes while we're talking. And if you are, if you've done the 5-day writing challenge, you've seen that I do a discounted coaching call for everyone who completes the writing course. But this right here, for my friends, for my Facebook friends, for my Year Right with CIS Smart Young friends, 15 minutes for free. Share the link with your friends. Absolutely fine. So what you Jean says, we all need a Joe Jackson in our corner. Okay, rest in peace to Joe Jackson. But yes, his methods may have been a little bit extreme, but he did produce the Jackson 5 and he did produce Michael. So there's something to be said about somebody whipping you into shape. Don't disagree with it. Okay, Sun says, I know I need a coach and I'm getting there. I think my biggest fear is sharing my writing because it's so personal, but I have a lot to release, so I'm looking to book this call and get her done. That's right. Okay, the link isn't working. Okay, I will, I do not understand why this Bitly link isn't working. I tested it before, but I will definitely repost to make sure that you guys have access to me. So what was I going to say? Let's see. Oh, bonus tip. And this is a little woo-woo for some people, but it kind of goes with creating your writing rituals. I do believe in having a talisman, something that you can literally touch that makes you feel better or kind of calms your nerves and alleviates your fears. Jean, on my website, that's another link. I have actually, yes, it's the same thing. And if you post that link, people can get to me that way. But I started to use a new calendar schedule situation, because that one that I have on my website doesn't go directly to, if you're talking about the link to the coaching call, which I think you are, Jean, that link doesn't go directly to my calendar. And this new service that I'm using, once you click and we book the call, it goes directly to my Gmail calendar, just so for a little clarification there. So back to number 6, which is the bonus tip. It is the talisman. So it could be a stone, it could be your favorite pen, it could be that notebook, but sometimes we need those things that we touch and that we feel that make us just calm down and feel a little bit better about what we are about to do. And let me tell you, my son, when he was in elementary school, he used to have really bad test-taking anxiety. And I had given him this talisman that my grandmother had given to me when I was pregnant with him. And I used to put it in his pocket every time he used to take one of those big state exams. And, there's just something to be said about mentally connecting with something that's very calming for you, because it can help you move forward in your life, whether you're taking a test or whether you need to sit down to write these 200 words, whether you need to sit down and write this synopsis for this screenplay, whatever it is that you're doing. A talisman, while it's not, it's not undoing the action that we talked about earlier, or it's not recognizing the difference between talent and skill, it is a feel-good thing that, it's great to feel like you are protected by something, and then that something and someone is in your corner. Jean says it can be weed. Now, If that is your flavor that you savor to help you progress with your writing, go ahead. However, if you can't write without the weed, then you're in trouble because you got an addiction and you got a situation. So I would say puff, puff, and then sometimes pass, right? Just pass. Okay, so I have done 30 minutes, way longer than I said I was going to do. But, I love you guys. Hit me up with questions. For everyone who's watching the replay right now, I'm going to repost the long link. Forget the bit.ly. I was trying to be cool with the bit.ly, and so you guys would get directly to me without this long link. And Sun says I use a rose quartz stone. See? I know what I'm talking about. I'm going to repost the link for you guys. Go ahead and book those 15-minute creative clarity calls with me, and I look forward to seeing you on my calendar. Talk soon, and we will meet again next week. And did you guys check me out with my little graphic? I'm trying to hold myself accountable. I posted a little graphic. I'm going to do better. I'm going to post it maybe a few days before as a reminder instead of, an hour or two before. But I'm learning. See you guys next week. Take care.